Is this new plugin worth $209? And more importantly, can it do things that I can't already do with my current plugins?
It's so easy to love you, baby. Easy to love, it's so easy to love.
I've been testing the free trial of this plugin for a few days now. This isn't sponsored at all. So let me show you what this thing can do. And at the end, I'll let you know if I'm gonna buy it or not. I've always gotten the name of this company wrong. I used to call them OEK Sound. And then I saw a YouTube comment that said it's supposed to be pronounced OK Sound. So then I started calling it that. But it turns out it's actually pronounced OX Sound. Anyway, they just released this new plugin called Bloom, and I was excited to check it out because this company makes my favorite mixing plugin called Soothe. You guys have definitely seen me use it on this channel, but what the hell does this new plugin do? So there's really two parts to it. The first part is tone. If I run some pink noise through it, you can see it's just trying to flatten the frequency range. So this can be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's try it with this organ sound. So with an organ, you don't really need the frequencies up here or down there, but it's trying to flatten the whole frequency range, so it's really boosting those frequencies. But obviously that's why they let you control the range with these parameters here. But you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of a multiband compressor. If we look at it side by side with a multiband compressor, you can see you can get pretty similar results to shape the tone. So the second part of this plugin is time. Let's add it to this rim shot. So anytime you have a punchy sound, the attack is going to be a lot louder than the tail. So when you add Bloom, it's going to really reduce the attack and accentuate the tail. That's why you have to keep an eye on the attack and release. You can let more transients through if you slow down the attack. So right when the sound starts playing, the plugin is reacting, and if you turn the release up, it's going to hold those initial settings for longer. But we got to answer the question, can this plugin really do anything that I can't already do with the plugins I currently have? Let's run some tests on an actual mix. I want to test it out with this crazy synth sound at the beginning of a drop.
It's so easy to love.
So if we add Bloom, we know it's going to flatten the tone of the sound, but it's also going to bring out the tail of each note. That sounds pretty sick, but you know what else can do pretty much the same thing? A multiband compressor. Let's see if you can tell the difference between the two sounds I just played. I can't really tell the difference. The only difference for me was that this multiband compressor took a little while longer to set up. With Bloom, I just turned a couple knobs and I was ready to go. Now let's test it out on vocals.
It's so easy to love you, baby. Easy to love,
So it's really flattening out the tone of the vocal, which sounds good on some areas, but not others. But I can easily adjust that with these knobs here. Like around 6,000, 7,000 hertz, I want to turn that down. So it's pretty quick to dial that in. But again, I can kind of already do what this plugin is doing. So let's add some Soothe first.
It's so easy to love you, babe.
So this is reducing the resonances and flattening the frequency response. And then after that, I can add some multiband compression. And this is controlling the dynamics between the attack of the sound and the tail of the sound and just balancing things further.
Easy to love, it's so easy to love you, it's so easy to love you, baby.
Bloom is actually missing my favorite control from Soothe, which is this sharpness knob.
It's so easy to love you, baby. Easy to love, it's so easy to love.
But it seems like Bloom
It's so easy to love.
It just has this default sharpness that you can't really change. Maybe they thought if you could change the sharpness, then it would sound really bad on the boosts if the resonances were too sharp. I don't know, maybe they're trying to idiot-proof this thing, but it could be nice to see that sharpness control in the next version. Let's do one final test on the master, and then I'll decide if I'm gonna buy it or not. So I'm dynamically flattening the tone of the master, and I'm able to separate it between the mids and the sides, which can help the master sound nice and wide. Again, there are some multi-band compressors that let you control the mids and sides separately, but this thing is really easy to set up. It also seems more precise than your typical multi-band compressor, where one of those might have like 6 bands. It seems like Bloom has like 50 bands of multi-band compression going on, and it's able to react to the level of each of those bands. So if I had to label what this plugin is, I would call it a really precise multi-band compressor that automatically flattens the tone. So is that worth $209, especially when we've seen that there are other plugins that can kind of replicate what this does already? That's what had me thinking I wasn't initially gonna buy this, but I think I was asking the wrong questions at the beginning of this video. I should have been asking how much time can this thing save me, because I think that's really where the value of this plugin lies. For me, this is my full-time job, so I am gonna buy it because it's gonna save me time. You just have to decide how much money your time is worth. If music is just a hobby and it's not your career, then you don't really need this thing. It's more of a nice to have than a need, but you just have to decide for yourself if $209 is worth it for you to save some time on your mixes. Thanks for watching. Peace.